Peaceful protest is taking place outside the Hoërskool Offerval in Vereniging. ENCA's Erin Bates is at the school this morning. Erin, last time we spoke, you were speaking to some of the parents, particularly one of the parents whose daughters are one of those who were among the 55 English-speaking pupils who will not be going to Offerval High School after the court decision. What's the latest you've got for us, and have you been able just to touch base with the school itself?
So Dan, I have spoken with some of the parents of learners or pupils who have been admitted and who are attending Hoërskool Offerval. They're quite reticent about going on record and showing their faces, but they've said that this is about language. The school does not have capacity to offer dual medium instruction. They've mentioned that there are learners who are coloured and black who attend Hoërskool Offerval and learn in Afrikaans, and they're very disappointed to see the demonstrators behind me here today. Also worth noting that there was a moment of some tension within this peaceful protest as demonstrators stormed or rushed towards the school gate. Since then, the police have moved their nyalas closer to the school barricade, and personnel on the school grounds have moved the learners away from the boundary towards the classrooms.
I see that the bulk of the protesters there behind you, Erin, are wearing red t-shirts. I would assume they are from EFF, but I've seen one protester walking past there and waving the ANC flag. It looks like the political parties are out there outside the school this morning.
They are indeed. I've also seen a demonstrator here in an SACP t-shirt. Some of the parents I spoke to yesterday said they wanted to remain apolitical on this issue, and their primary concern is their children's education. But as we see here today, political parties demonstrating their critique of Judge Bill Prinsloo's ruling. And these are political party members of the EFF and the ANC from around the region.
As we heard from one of the parents you spoke to earlier, Erin, I mean, their daughters are now being enrolled, admitted to a school that's further away from where they live, and that will have financial implications for the family.
It will, and this is something that several of the parents of those affected 55 learners said to ENCA, to me, during court proceedings, that they have homes within walking distance of Hoërskool Offerval. It's the nearest school to where they stay. They want their children to be able to attend sports, after-school activities and so on, and now they're going to have to spend more money and more time making sure that their children can get to Riverside High School, which is quite a deal further away from Hoërskool Offerval, and even further than the two other English medium schools that Judge Bill Prinsloo recommended the department send these learners to. So the implications and the bearing this will have on the daily routine of these families is something we really shouldn't underestimate. It represents a financial cost, it represents a logistical difficulty, and it may also curtail the extramural activities that these learners will be able to participate in because their school will not be within close range of where they live.
Okay, it is day one of the 2018 academic year, Erin. Let's not forget that. I'm sure there are pupils who are registered there. As you said, you spoke to some of the parents earlier who just want to get the school calendar on its way. From what you've been able to establish, what you can see, have they started classes this morning at Offerval Hoërskool?
From my assessment of things, school hasn't started as yet, but they certainly have done what they can, the personnel on site, to move the learners off the grounds and into the school buildings, to get them away from the wall and from the gate of the school. I imagine school will start here around 8 o'clock. It's quite likely there will be some kind of first assembly for the first day back at school. And looking at the student population, and I'm a little bit wary of sort of profiling the learners, but I do think it has some bearing in the context of the story, Dan. There is racial variation, if you want to call it that, in this school population.
There is some diversity.
Learners,
there is some diversity.
Yes, you could say so. Some. And the learners obviously are learning here in Afrikaans, and that's really what the issue of the court case has been about.
Okay.